And lastly, but not leastly, Billy Napier has been fired as of Sunday, on Black Sunday. I mean, I've got a list of 2026 commits of Florida that had Alabama on their choice list. Hayes Kent, KJ Ford. We've done a commitment watch party live streams here on Alabama at the Voice of College Football, along with Florida at the Voice of College Football, amongst a few other channels on these two guys. But there's also Desmond Green, Janarvre Carr, Caden Hall, Jeraylin McCoy, Carson Baker, and Malik Morris. Looking at these guys on the 2026 commit list for Florida, which one of them is the most likely to flip to Bama after the firing of Billy Napier?
It's interesting. Several of those guys, like you said, you pointed out that had Alabama on their list, and it seemed like Alabama was picking up steam on a guy like Hezzy Kent over the summer, and he just decided to take visits everywhere but Alabama. He had initially scheduled to visit Alabama, but I believe that he's a guy that wants to play tight end. And I know that Alabama's got Max Sutter and just offered another guy that's committed to Colorado. So I I don't think that Alabama recruits Hezzy Kent. He's a guy that's almost 300 pounds, Jackson. He is a monster. He is 6'7", 300 pounds. So I think Alabama would take him as a defensive lineman, but I'm not sure that he's willing to do that. Um, but the other guy that I would say that Alabama would actually pursue, if he's willing to come and willing to basically reopen his recruitment, is definitely KJ Ford. A guy that Alabama fans are very familiar with. Seemed like he was going to Alabama, and then the day before his uh, commitment date, and then the next day everybody's like he's going to Florida. The buzz changed. Seems like Florida threw him the bag there, but I won't get into particulars on that one. But I think that he's a guy that Alabama would definitely take. They would definitely give him the green light. I think that his recruitment is very NIL based. Obviously, I saw that he's visiting USC and expect some schools in Texas and other schools around the SEC. I know Ohio State was interested, but they got several edge
Oh,
rushers there.
USC, they have no respect for rivalries. They want to avoid Notre Dame, USC, but not here at Bama. We love our rivalries. We love our Iron Bowl. We love our third Saturday in October.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
man. Oh
So
yeah. Oh
that's
yeah.
a pit. That's a sales pitch right there.
But I will say this, Jackson. What's interesting to me is a lot of these Florida commits. They're not, jumping off. They're not jumping off the boat yet. Like they're still committed.
Yeah.
And with Penn State, James Franklin, I mean, there were kids within minutes, reopening their recruitment, decommitting. Like it was just like several days worth. And Florida kids, you don't really, I haven't really seen a lot of that. So it's very interesting. Obviously, Florida has to make a huge hire. There's been several names floating around, but I think that some of these guys actually committed to the coaching staff aside from Billy Napier, their relationships with some of these guys. But, a logical or reasonable person would think that those coaches aren't going to be there. So, with Napier leaving. So I'm not sure. I would probably say KJ Ford. That's a great question. I'm glad you asked. And I think that Hezzy Kent might be a guy that they kick the tires on if he were to reopen his recruitment. But I know that there will be a lot of suitors. I know Texas will be in on him. Miami, Florida State. Florida State is is Florida State is they might not even be able to keep Mike Norvell or might get rid of him and fire him. So it'll be interesting to see if he reopens his recruitment, which I expect. Another guy that I really like is Jeraylin McCoy. He's a guy that's like 6'7", 250 plus pounds. Out of that Tupelo area, and Alabama has offered several kids from Tupelo, pardon me, in the 27 and 28 class, and they got a good program over there. And he's a guy that Alabama could pursue. I know that they have Jamarian Matthews, Kamarian Johnson, J.J. Finch, Corey Howard now. So it's if you're a defensive lineman and you want to entertain committing to Alabama and Alabama's an option, you better jump on board is all I got to say, because I know Alabama likes a lot of defensive linemen. There's already a lot of talent on the roster and they got 4 or 5 in this class, so it'll be interesting. But I would definitely say KJ Ford is a guy that they would, out of that list that you named, those guys, I would definitely say KJ Ford's the one to keep an eye on.
Oh man, like because yeah, I was thinking about like even though 247 says it's 100% that they're staying committed to Florida, I'm like let's see, let's see. Nah, Brody knows.
Yeah. No, it's something that a lot of people just don't know nowadays, especially with him being fired Sunday. A lot of people don't know because a lot of these recruits, they don't talk as much during the season. So a lot of them are focused on their season, and once their season ends, you know, the wheels start spinning a little bit more. You see their recruitment pick up once their season ends. They're taking visits before early signing day. So, I think that some of these guys will decommit and probably start taking a lot of visits. I'm not sure if Alabama would recruit any of them, but if there were to be any, I would say those three would be the ones to keep an eye on. I think that Alabama, they liked all of those players, when their recruitment was open. So it'll be interesting to see if Alabama at least, brings them in for a visit.
Oh, for sure. I'm just getting excited thinking about who we can get. It'll be funny to get a little revenge on Florida State. Like, I mean, it's like, why wait till next year where we can get revenge against them in the recruiting trail? Because,
Yep.
like, oh man, because they're like, I mean, would you really want to play for the Gus Bus? I know I don't.
Yeah, Gus Bus might not be chugging along down there in Tallahassee much longer with the way things are going. So,
Oh no. I mean, like you lose your fourth straight conference game and it's against Stanford on ACC after dark, 1 o'clock in the morning, 2 o'clock in the morning Eastern time. Like that last play. Oh my god, that was nuts.
dude, and the thing about it is, Florida State's offense has been atrocious ever since they played us. Like it has been like an embarrassment. Like it was like Florida State Super Bowl was Alabama because of when we got put in the playoffs over them. They were undefeated and they put Alabama in because we beat Georgia and all that riffraff, and then they got smoke pulled by Georgia. And they're like, we're at home, week one. We got our whole team's transfers, so they can't prepare for us because they don't have the film. They don't know what we're going to do, what we're going to throw at them. They always struggle with Gus Malzahn. So we'll just treat this one like the Super Bowl, and then after that, whatever happens, happens. But
Yeah.
no, in all seriousness, that team has struggled tremendously, and per reports and everything I'm reading, I don't think Mike Norvell is going to be around much longer. He may finish
No,
out the season,
especially
but I don't see it being beyond that. I
no,
don't
I
see.
mean, especially when the players are joking every time Norvell talks to the press, like they're joking to
Exactly.
one another. It's like
Yeah, I read
that
I read that, man. It was what was the word that he said? It was some word.
process.
Yep. So, yeah, process. And they when players are joking about that, man, it's not a good look. It's not.
No, I mean, you shouldn't be cutting up and laughing your butt off when you're losing 4 straight conference games, especially when your last conference win was against Cal on September 21st, 2024 on ESPN2, where you won 14-9. Like,
Yeah.
oh,
That I don't know, man. I kind of view Mike Norvell and Florida State situation is similar to Auburn
ugh,
because you got coaches, offensive minded guys, and you're like, okay, well they're gonna, we're at least gonna be able to score points. The defense is the side that you kind of wonder about, but it's been the exact opposite for both schools. It's been like the offense has done nothing to help, and then the defense is the one that's playing, relatively well. So
good
it's
God.
it's it's an interesting situation down there in Tallahassee, man.
Well, I'm glad we're not Mike Norvell, and you know,
Exactly.
pretty soon I think some of those recruits they're gonna come right over to Bama because we think about all our games and they only think about one.
Hey, makes sense to me, man. I don't know.
There we go.